This is a message from the New World Order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
After a deluded gunman assassinated President Kennedy,
when we are successful, and we will be, when we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
In these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge, a new era, freer from the threat of terror, and today that new world is struggling to be born. A world quite different from the one we've known, a world where the rule of law supplants the rule of the jungle. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
Steel.
What word?
Steel.
Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready.
Play.
Yes, play.
Trocado Australia, ma vanno sempre nei disegni, del Brahma Tracali, che fanno di Tuscia, בכל העניינים. מה שישראל לאחרונה נמצא מפיצו כמה עניינים. מה שלא עוד, וגם משהו שעדיין משאיר ליבו. אז הייתה זה משהו ומה ידיעתו. הכנראה שהיא מספיק, כאילו שהיום כבר כמה שעות בגיל עדיין ליבו, אבל יש עוד כמה שעות, אבל יש להשתדל גם היום, בצורה טובה. זה שמחה וטוב ליבו. כדי שחסידים מקפידים שכל מיני נמידים את שמחה.
Is this part of your new world order?
We have a lot of huge problems. We have the nuclear problem in Korea. We have the nuclear problem in Iran. We have, of course, a whole array of problems, each of which, Afghanistan, and so forth. But then we have the financial issues. But they really are issues of the construction of a new world order. That's what this is about. And that's the sort of dialogue the Chinese are generally good at. And so a partnership between us is essential. A conflict between us is going to exhaust us both in tactical exercises that cannot be conclusive.
And the New World Order could satisfy both.
It has to satisfy both, because otherwise it will lead to tensions that will exhaust us both.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Good to be here.
Henry Kissinger, as President Obama, is in China talking to Hu Jintao.
Department was to compile huge volume of information on individuals who were instrumental in creating public opinion. Publishers, editors, journalists, actors, educationalists, professors of political science, members of parliament, representatives of business circles. This was my instruction. Try to get into large circulation established conservative media. Filthy rich movie makers, intellectuals, so-called academic circles, cynical, egocentric people who can look into your eyes with angelic expression and tell you a lie. These are the most recruitable people who lack moral principles, who are either too greedy or too suffer from self-importance. They feel that they matter a lot. These are the people who KGB wanted very much to recruit. Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate overt and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. It's a slow process.
It's part of our Constitution. You know, the right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny, not to hunt.
On clear days, you can often see long white lines being traced high in the sky. They are contrails of jet aircraft, actually long, slender clouds. Weathermen are finding them especially fascinating because a theory is being developed that those long white lines may be changing our weather for the better. Details from Roger O'Neill.
The exhaust from jet engines, usually seen as long, thin trails of white clouds behind high-flying jet airplanes, may be a big reason why there are 30 fewer days of sunshine a year in the Midwest now than there were in 1900. The daily range between high and low temperatures has also narrowed. Weather researchers studying cloud cover in 10 Midwestern states found a sharp increase in cloudiness with the increase in commercial jet travel. Particularly in the main east-west jet corridor, there were even more clouds. A jet produces a contrail, or a cloud, because its exhaust consists primarily of water vapor.
In the absence of natural clouds, given the correct atmospheric conditions, jet aircraft in high frequency can almost completely cover the atmosphere, visible atmosphere, with clouds.
Simonin says unlike most changes in the atmosphere caused by man, this one is beneficial. Clouds help farmers in the Midwest by blocking the sun. Temperature extremes can damage plants and speed up the evaporation of soil moisture. In the winter, city people benefit because clouds act as a blanket, preventing warm air from escaping into the atmosphere.
No one is trying to make clouds now using jet engines, but this study suggests that jet travel is inadvertently making our days more cloudy. And someday, weather researchers may be able to use jets on purpose to change our weather. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Champaign, Illinois.
The rate of climate change, or reverse it, by making the Earth more reflective, by reflecting away more sunlight, for example, by putting reflective particles, aerosol pollution, if you like, in the upper atmosphere, by putting reflective particles, aerosol pollution, if you like, in the upper atmosphere.
I think all our society is run by insane people.
Будет найдено. Об этом договорятся в Вашингтоне и в Москве, в Брюсселе и в Китае, в Пекине. Только 4 столицы в мире. Вашингтон, Брюссель, Москва, Пекин. Все, 4 столицы. Больше никто ни на что влиять не может. И лишний игрок в международных отношениях. 4 столицы всегда договорятся. Обама, представитель Евросоюза, Медведев, представитель Китая. Все, они вчетвером договорятся. При этом китаец приедет в Москву, согласится с позицией Москвы. Европейцы приедут в Москву, согласятся с позицией Москвы. И американцы приедут в Москву, как Байден сейчас был. И обо всем договорятся. Проблем нету. Все решают только 4 столицы. При этом Вашингтон не имеет будущего, Америка искусственное государство рухнет, Европа старая, так сказать, уже континент, который никакой роли не играет, Китай на пороге взрыва. И остается космическая держава Россия с огромными деньгами, ресурсами и новым оружием, о котором еще никто не знает. Любую часть планеты уничтожим в течение 15 минут. Ни одного взрыва, ни одного, так сказать, всплеска там, луча какого-то лазерного, там, молния. Нет, тихо, спокойно. Целый континент будут спать вечным сном.
А может вы нам подробнее расскажете, как вы собираетесь это делать?
Все остальное. Вот цунами сейчас в Японии. Вы Курилы хотели? Вот вы будете разбирать обломки всех ваших зданий. И сдохните все 120 миллионов. если вы еще потребуете Курила от нас, так и все остальные пусть подумают о своем будущем. О своем будущем пусть думают. Тоже мне еще грузинские вина и там какие-то наблюдатели. А не хотите, чтобы забыли слово Грузия в мире? И будет русско-турецкая граница. Вот подумайте, пускай Саакашвили об этом. То цунами будет другое. В другой части Кавказа.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
But we've got to stop doing the two suicidal things, which are hanging on to our nuclear weapons, and then after that, we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born,
So what's wrong with the population? I mean,
there were too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. If there were less people, they'd be using less stuff. Not doing it will be catastrophic. We'll have 8 degrees. We'll be 8 degrees hotter in 30 or 40 years, and basically none of the crops will grow. Most of the people will have died, and the rest of us will be cannibals. Civilization will have broken down. What the few people who are left will be living in a failed state like Somalia or Sudan, and living conditions will be intolerable. The droughts will be so bad there'll be no more corn growing. Not doing it is suicide. Just like dropping bombs on each other, nuclear weapons is suicide. So we've got to stop doing the two suicidal things, which are hanging on to our nuclear weapons, and then after that, we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. If there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
Which leads me to conclude that if, in fact, compromise is not coming, that the traditional way of America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. Some people might think that Mr. Roosevelt wanted to get us into World War II, as David mentioned. You may recall we had to wait for Pearl Harbor. Some people might think Mr. Wilson wanted to get us into World War I. You may recall he had to wait for the Lusitania episode. Some people might think that Mr. Johnson wanted to send troops to Vietnam. You may recall he had to wait for the Gulf of Tonkin episode. We didn't go to war with Spain until the until the Maine exploded. And may I point out that Mr. Lincoln did not feel he could call out the Federal Army until Fort Sumter was attacked, which is why he ordered the commander at Fort Sumter to do exactly that thing which the South Carolinians had said would cause an attack. So if, in fact, the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. One can combine other means of pressure with sanctions. I mentioned that explosion on August 17th. We could step up the pressure. I mean, look, people, Iranian submarines periodically go down. Someday one of them might not come up. Who would know why? We can do a variety of things if we wish to increase the pressure. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just suggesting that this is not a either-or proposition. It's just sanctions has to succeed or other things. We are in the game of
Music is in the